Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lovely to talk to me, funny lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore! So excited to be joined by my next guest. He is one of the stars of the show SHUCKED, which is coming to the Hobby Center November the 19th through the 24th. Tickets available at thehobbycenter.org. He joins me right now. He plays the character Bo. He is Jake Odmark. Jake, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad to be here. Very excited for the Houston audience. It's going to be amazing.
Look, I don't think people realize how much we love the arts here in the city of Houston. We're a big arts town, especially live theater and live entertainment. Y'all been traveling with this show, for quite some time right now, right? So where are you at currently? Are you in Dallas or where are you at?
So I'm recording now from Austin, Texas. My first time in Austin, and then we're doing we're going all through Texas. We go Austin, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth. We do all of that in the next few weeks. Houston's our second stop. I actually visited Houston on my last tour, which was 16 years ago, and it was one of my top cities in that tour. And we went to 60 cities that year, and I always remembered Houston as being one of the best crowds. So I'm very excited to be back.
Best crowds and some best food. We got a lot of good food down here, man. I don't know if you're going to be able to partake a lot, but you should definitely check out the food scene. We always
and it's eclectic. I was very surprised, when like New Yorkers think of Texas, you think of kind of one cuisine. You got the Tex-Mex or something. You're going to get cowboy boots and you're going to have kind of a one style pony down here. But man, Houston had everything, and everything was absolutely exquisite. So I'm very excited.
Well, hey, man, look, let's talk about SHUCKED. For people who don't know what this show is about, kind of give them a brief synopsis of what they can expect when they come to the Hobby Center.
Sure. Well, first off, I would say everybody wants to know what SHUCKED's about because it's on purpose. It's a little bit mysterious, right? Like we got a big picture of a corn cob, and that is our entire promo, right? That's kind of on purpose. We don't want to give too much away. I think the narrative is less important than the essence of the show, the vibe. The show is, first of all, brand new story, brand new music, which is so rare these days. And it's a story, if you want to hear a nutshell story, it's a story of a small town community where a huge pandemic of sorts affects them, and they need to travel out for the first time to get help. It's a story of like community. It's a story of leaning on each other, but also taking risks and not judging others by their cover. It is one of the funniest shows I think I've ever seen. I remember seeing it for the first time on Broadway 2 years ago, and it never left me. People are saying it's funnier than Book of Mormon. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I think it's more about like knowing what you're getting into. It is definitely a hoot. It's a drink. It's a show you have a drink. It's like I said, less about what happens and more about what you feel when you see it. And I promise you, you're going to feel everything.
Well, I mean, look, I'm a big theater fan. You know, my wife and I try to travel to New York at least once a year to see something on Broadway. Most recently, I actually
Cool.
saw the Back to the Future the musical, which is a
Nice.
phenomenal show.
Mhm.
By the way, really, really great if people hadn't checked that out yet. But to me, what's great about shows like Shucked is yes, there are a lot of shows in Broadway that have been playing for a long time, or are off an existing property, like I just talked about Back to the Future. Originality, both on stage and screen, is a rarity nowadays, and to have something like this as an actor must really make you go, "Oh, I'm sinking my teeth fully into this."
It's unbelievable. My last Broadway musicals, that I did, my track record is all movie musicals. I did Pretty Woman, the musical. I did Spider-Man on Broadway. I've done Kinky Boots, which is also a movie people don't even realize. Everything is always adapted these days, and therefore we're set up to comparison. Which would you like better, the movie or the play? No one can just sit there and enjoy it for the art form that it's supposed to be. And this show is the first one that I've done that's ever been an original musical. Everything I've done in my entire career, I've been doing this for a while. I've never done an original musical that's completely from scratch. And this is that. And this show is Robert Horn, and he's a Tony-winning playwright. It's his baby. He's been writing this and curating it for the last 15 years. This is something that came to him 15 years ago, and it's gone through so many iterations. It's a kind of a perfect time, perfect place for this thing. The country music team here, I mean, it's a country musical. That alone sets it apart. But yeah, you'll notice it. It's to sit down and not know who the characters are, not know what the story's about, and have to jump in and like get on that train is something that's rare, and it's super valuable, because then you leave and you have something that you can't go to the store or the supermarket and say, "Oh, we saw Back to the Future," because everyone knows they have a preconception. You'd
Sure.
have to say it's Shucked, and then they say, "What's it about?" And you say, "Man, you have to go see it. Now it's mine. I have that, you don't." So it's a cool thing to kind of leave with.
Well, and also, okay, let's talk about the character Bo. So for you to not have, whether it be in Spider-Man or Pretty Woman or anything that you can actually base your character on. I mean, obviously there's going to be descriptions in the script, but to have
Mhm.
this sense of I can bring something original to an original character that nobody really knows. Talk to me kind of about that process.
Oh yeah, it's been the biggest blessing in my career for sure. Bo is he's so near and dear to me, because he's a farm town boy that leads with his heart, and he really always truly thinks he's doing the right thing and leading with love, and he's never doing the right thing. It's always pride, it's always ego, it's always selfishness, but he thinks it's out of love for, he's engaged to this girl Maisie, and he just loves her so much, but he keeps putting his foot in his mouth. And I think it's something super relatable, especially to men. I mean, me growing up, man, I always thought I was doing the right thing. And I look back, and I'm like, I was an idiot. I was such an idiot. And Bo does that. And I think actually gains love and respect from the audience, because he sees that he's doing it wrong as the play goes about. So it's so a beautiful thing for me, because like you said, it's not, when I played Spider-Man, I had to be the person that says, "Oh, we like Tobey Maguire better," like immediately there's comparisons. I also played Edward in Pretty Woman, and people were like, "You're too young for Richard Gere."
Right.
It's like, so there was never kind of this like possession of the role for me. So that Bo definitely is that. And I think you'll see you're going to relate to somebody in this cast, somebody, or maybe it'll remind you of yourself. But everybody has such a growth and a journey through it. And it's beautiful, because it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it really does hit you in the heartstrings in the end, and you don't see it coming. And just when you think it's just a fun, comedy show where you're just laughing, 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 all of a sudden you're feeling things in your heart and in your head. So it's super special. I'm so blessed to be here.
So I'm always fascinated when the show goes on tour. So it's one thing to do it in New York, where you can actually, do you live in New York? Is that your
I do,
home?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's one thing when you live in New York and you can go to your own bed after the show's over, and relax and sleep. In this case, you're on the road. You don't know the restaurants that are around. You're sleeping in a bed that's foreign to you, and you got to still wake up and give that same performance as if it was a home game. What are some of the tips or tricks that you've had over the years that figure out, like, okay, this is how I'm going to get in the space to be 100%?
You know what? In a way, it's a little bit easier on tour, because
Really?
the audiences are so different that it keeps it light and live for us every night. We don't know what we're going to get. For instance, the Austin audiences have been totally different than the Nashville audiences, and I'm sure the Houston audiences will compare differently as well. So that in a way makes it easier. We're excited to see what different pockets of the country, how they receive the show. In New York, when I did 1,500 performances at Kinky Boots, 1,500, and every single night was a Broadway show, and it was the same Broadway tourists, the same Broadway community, the theater people that come and see it, and so you kind of had the same routine. It wasn't too surprising. On tour, it actually makes it a little bit easier for us. However, the day-to-day operations of a tour are just nasty, man. I mean, the last tour I did, I was 22 years old, and I was like, my first job, and I was like, this is so cool. I got one night in Wyoming, and one night in Idaho, and then one night in Texas, and now, even having 2-week, month-long sit-downs, I'm like, this is tough. It's definitely a tough thing to get on the road. Our one day off is getting on a bus or getting on a plane. And then we have press, we have rehearsals, we have 8 shows a week, so it's a blessing, but it's a full-time job. But we take it very seriously because, I think this show, more than anything, is meant to be delivered to America. This is a show about small towns. It's about rural America. And so we're so excited to be able to deliver it, right to their doorstep.
Well, it is Memorial Herman Broadway at the Hobby Center. The show is called Shucks. It's going to be playing here the 19th through the 24th. You can get tickets at thehobbycenter.org, and you can see Jake and the rest of the cast of Shuck. Man, Jake, again, I can't wait to see the show. I'm going to be there on Tuesday. I'm really excited to see it because, again, I have no idea what it's about, but you've talked me into it, and I think you've talked all our listeners and viewers into it as well. We're really excited, man, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, so excited. Thanks for having me. I guarantee you're going to laugh. There's 180 something laugh lines in the show, but also I promise you're going to feel something you didn't expect as well. So definitely come check us out.
Well, Jake, thanks so much, man.
Thank you.